Welcome to the Universal Broadcasting Network's Hit Afternoon Show, bringing you the latest in music news, artist interviews, and more, with your hosts, Lauren Dair and Sean Lusk. This is the Music Project.
Hello.
Hola. Dude, that intro always gets me in the mood. I'm always hyped when I hear that.
I know. I don't know what it is. Like, there's something about that beat that just makes you want to dance. I know we've been doing this for I don't know how many years now, but since we've had that promo, it just started.
Yeah, every time we have anyone in studio, everyone's like, yeah, let's get it. Like, super hyped for the interview.
We've had that promo for probably a year now?
Yeah.
A year and a half, and every time.
It works.
Every time. My name is Lauren Dair Owens.
I'm Sean Lusk.
And this is the Music Project.
It really is the Music Project. What have you been up to?
Last night, I went and saw a Gary Clark Jr. show at the Greek. The opener was a band called Shaky Graves, who are awesome. Like,
Yeah.
I wanted to marry the lead singer's voice. It was crazy.
What kind of music was it?
So Gary Clark Jr. kind of does like blue. Like, he's an amazing guitarist. Like, half of his show is just improvising.
Yeah.
So he does kind of more like blues. It's like dirty. I don't know how to describe it. Shaky Graves, I would kind of classify more on the folky side. Like, they were bluesy, but they kind of had a Mumford and Sons feel to them as well, which was really cool. But I've seen a ton of shows at the Greek. I've seen 21 Pilots. I've seen Fun and Tegan and Sarah and the Lumineers, and I've been there a ridiculous amount of times.
You know, I've never been to the Greek before.
Really?
My whole life. So many of my friends go to their shows. I mean, that's not a band. They go to the venue. They go to the venue there. And,
Yeah.
I've never been. I heard it's great though.
Well, I'm going to change your life because I had some friends, and I have friends, and they invited me to this Gary Clark Jr. show, and I'm like, okay, great, but I'm broke. Like, I can't buy tickets to go see him. And they're like, it's okay, we found a spot.
Ooh.
Like, we found a spot. I'm like, yeah. And there's this place where you can actually go and hike, and it's a really horrible hike. Like, you're out of breath by the time you get there. Yeah, and you get up there, and you have a really great view of L.A. on one side. Like, you can see downtown and all the lights, and it's really pretty. And then on the other side, you can see the Greek. And of course, like, everyone looks like little ants. Like, you know, they're pretty small, but the sound is really great.
That's what I was about to ask. It sounds good up there? You can totally hear it?
Yeah, and so, you know, if it's a band that you like, but you're not, like, dying to, like, watch them, it's great. It's wonderful. So we kind of went up there. We brought a bunch of food. We were just kind of hanging out and listening to the music, you know. But if it's a band you really enjoy and you want to see them up close and personal.
Yeah, you should buy tickets.
Of course. And I mean, I always say, you know, support your local artists, buy tickets. But for, you know, it was kind of one of those fun, spontaneous, like, hey, let's go see a show tonight, you know.
Andre saw, one of my good friends, Andre, saw Lord in that same place. He saw Lord in, like, up in that. It's like you can hike, right? And then you can get in, like, trees.
Yeah, you can go sit in trees if you want, or they have, like, kind of, like, paved areas, but it's all part of these hiking trails, and you just got to know the right spot to stop, you know. So it's open to the public. You just got to be smart and find it. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. So
that is right. I want to check that out.
Yeah, for sure. If you ever see any artists that you really like, it's worth trying out. I know in the next couple weeks there's going to be Fits and the Tantrums. There's going to be Glass Animals, Nora Jones, and there was one other that I really wanted to go check out. I forget who. But Mumford and Sons were just there. Again, I've seen some huge acts there. Yeah. I know Kanye played there a while back, you know. So it's really cool to kind of check out their schedule and see who's coming up. So if you ever need, you know, a tour guide to figure out where the spot is, I got you. I know now.
Well, moving on, we have special guests in the studio. Do you want to introduce them?
Yes, we have an awesome band who is calling in today called Left with Pictures. And I have to tell you guys, the reason I found your music was I signed up for this vinyl subscription service called VNYL, and your record was in my first box.
Great.
And I loved it. Like, I was like, oh, this is so great. And so I was like, all right, I got to call these guys and get them on the show.
Cool.
So shout out to those guys for, you know, having a great taste in music and being able to find something that I loved. But welcome to the show, guys.
We're pleased to hear that they're sending them out.
Yeah. No, it's doing really well.
say, yeah, okay, you can take our records, but it's obviously working. So
yeah, yeah, for sure. But we are on with Left with Pictures, and we got 3 of the guys on the call with us. So why don't you guys introduce yourselves and just tell everyone what instrument you play and who you are.
Okay, so I'm Stu, and we all play lots of different instruments, so it could take a while. But so I'm Stu. I play mainly guitar and a bit of keys as well, and sing.
Mm-hmm. And I'm Toby, and I do more or less the same.
And I'm Tom. I mainly play the violin and don't sing, so that's what differentiates me. Not allowed to sing.
Wonderful. Yeah, and you guys have such an interesting sound that I want to talk about in just a minute. But before we go into you guys as a band, as Left with Pictures, let's talk about you guys as individual musicians starting off. How did you get into playing music, and when did you decide that this was something that you wanted to do, as a career?
Yeah, well, I mean, our band's been going quite a while now. We've been playing for about 10 years. So the record that you've got from VNYL was that's our 3rd album. Mm-hmm. We met at university. We all studied music. So after that, we started writing songs, and it was all home recorded at first. We just did self-released, 10 years ago, when MySpace was the thing.
Back in the day.
So that's a blast in the past. But we self-released, self-recorded, and it was just the love of playing live mainly, I think, was the incentive to do it. And when you play shows, you need something to something to give people, something to sell to people. So we recorded because of that. And I don't know. I think we've always, all as individuals, loved music from an early age and loved playing live. And nothing more mysterious than that, really.
How did you learn to play music? Like you said, you were at a young age when you started playing, but how did you learn? Was it like self-taught, or did you have like a musical family?
Well, we all had music lessons. So I started off on piano. Tom, who's with us, did you start off on the violin?
I started off on the violin at the age of 6 or something.
Yeah.
We all had probably a formal classical type education. We all took lessons, did grades.
Yeah. Do you have that in the States? Do you have sort of music grades that go from sort of 1 to 8, and you take exams every year? Is that something you do as well?
We can't really hear you. We're kind of breaking up. Would you is it possible if you can maybe like talk into the phone a little more? It's kind of hard to hear.
Sounds like you're talking in a bubble.
Oh, sorry guys.
No
yeah.
worries.
Well, just saying, we did have music lessons, and we did have a sort of formal. We each of us learned instruments and did grades and so on. But that's the thing that for me made me want to play in bands was hearing Nirvana. Mm-hmm. When I was about 13, 14, and I mean our music now sounds obviously nothing like that, but that was the thing that inspired me to play the guitar and write songs, was listening to American bands, actually. It was, for me, Nirvana, the Smashing Pumpkins, Green Day, that sort of thing. Was that's what got me initially into it. And then, personally, my taste broadened from that over the years, and here we are now with music that sounds nothing like that. But for me, that was the initial, inspiration.
How would you compare your music that you're doing now? Like, who would you say that you sound kind of like?
Well, I think it's a good question. I mean, we're big fans of Sufjan Stevens.
Oh yeah.
We're into him, and I think he's definitely an influence. I guess it's kind of the kind of sonic palette that he uses. It's orchestral, but he also uses synths and electronic elements as well, and fuses them together in a way that's quite organic. We're fans of a British band called Wild Beasts. Have you heard of them?
Wild Beasts?
Wild Beasts, yeah.
No, I'm not familiar with that at all.
Check them out, yeah. So the guy who produced our record Afterlife, Richard Formby, he also produced Wild Beasts. And again, they have a great sound where they use synths as well as, the more traditional rock band instruments, and kind of fuse that together very, very well. So I think that's 2 examples. I don't know if any of the other guys could think of any others, but yeah, for a start, CPR Stevens and Wild Beast, and then there's one British and one American there for you. So
wonderful. So we can kind of compare and contrast. Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and take a listen to this first song that I have queued up here called Terra Firma. And you guys have such an interesting sound. That was the first thing I noticed when I unpacked my record. Who was it that they go through your thing and they're like, okay, well, you like so-and-so, so, check out this band. And I'm trying to remember who they compared you to. They said, you really like, kind of soft singer-songwriter ballads. So check, and you really like A Fine Frenzy. So check out Left with Pictures. That's what I got. And listening to it, I could kind of hear a little bit of that, but there's something more there. You guys have such this full sound that surrounds it as well. So tell us a little bit about this first song, Terra Firma, and then we're going to play it, and then we'll come back and, ask a little bit more about your music.
Thank you. Yep, the song Terra Firma, it definitely fits into the theme of the album Afterlife. It is sort of about the afterlife. It's about dying, really, without wishing to. Well, you can't really sugarcoat it. But hopefully it ends on a hopeful note. I think it tells a story about missing someone, about someone's passing. And it was given quite a cinematic treatment. So as you said, it sounds really quite full. And Tom played some beautiful violin and viola and did a string arrangement with another string player, a friend of ours. And you'll hear sort of halfway through there's a real cascade of synths as well. So we put a bit of everything, hopefully, that we like into that song.
Wonderful. Well, let's go ahead and take a listen. This is Terra Firma by Left with Pictures.
I was low enough before we met to stubborn and persistent wretch moved in one day and got your own way. I dreamt I would lift you up hand in hand. We drained the cup to the bitter end and leave it as friends. Then came a cry and then a flash, a blitzkrieg, a surprise attack before silence fell. Only the chapel bells gave out a sound, fending all hell out. Do you sleep with your windows wide? Do you wander free? Are you buried alive? You don't answer me, love. I ask it again and again. It's easy to go on. You know how I love you so. One day I'll find you at the water's edge. So we went on as we'd rehearsed, gathered up some crumbs of earth one autumn day before we turned away. And friends who'd rallied round at first left thinking that they'd seen the worst, and sorrow was only there to hold them back. Do you sleep with your windows wide? Do you wander free? Are you buried alive? You don't answer me, love. I ask it again and again. You know that I love you so. One day I'll find you at the water's edge. as the waves roll in, both feet on solid ground.
That was Left with Pictures. We are on air with them now. Yeah, you know, it has this. If you look at it from a very like standard standpoint, the lyrically and melodically everything, it's very singer-songwriter-esque, but it has this great orchestral feel to it that makes it so much more powerful.
Yeah, it's very, very musical.
Yeah, and it makes it so much more, like because you could do that same song on just an acoustic guitar or keyboard and have it be, a great singer-songwriter track. But the way that you guys produced it, and recorded it, gives it this very kind of spooky feel to it, which is really cool and different from a lot of the bands that I'm, have heard most recently.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. So I want to talk a little bit about this new album, which is called Afterlife. And you were saying how, the whole album kind of has this theme surrounding, death and the afterlife and everything that kind of goes with it. What made you guys choose that as being your theme?
I thought it sort of chose itself in a way. We were writing songs and put together, and it turned out the songs that we were choosing to put on the records, the theme of it was either death or dying or things coming to an end or new beginnings and things like that. So it wasn't that we set out to make an album with that theme, but it turned out like that. And then once we noticed that there was this link between the songs, it just sort of became inescapable. Suddenly every song had that behind it in some way, that theme of, death and renewal and that sort of thing. And then for me, even then lyrics started to mean different things. Lyrics that had been written meaning one thing, then sort of changed their meaning almost. Now that we'd had that as a sort of concept. It just happened organically, really. Yeah.
So when you're...
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go for it.
So we're playing past the laptop here. I'm just going to say that I guess it's like the tarot card that has death on it. That there can be a positivity in it as well. So it's not entirely morbid.
Yeah.
I think you're going to play the start later, which has hopefully has a much more a sense of renewal about it. But just thought I had that.
Yeah, and being able to understand both sides of it, because I'm one of those people that, like, as a songwriter, I've always gravitated to more darker lyrics. I don't know why. That's always something that I've clung to. And I'm a very optimistic, positive person, so it's kind of the opposite. But I think being able to see the good in the depressing, and people, some people listen to it and be like, okay, this is gonna be my sad song, but I listen to sad music as the music that makes me happy because I'm able to look at it from a different perspective.
I think it's easier to listen to quote unquote sad music if you're a positive person, to be honest, because it's not going to drag you into the pits. You have a perspective on it. You can enjoy it as a piece of art, as for its aesthetic value. I agree.
Yeah, and I was one of my school assignments that I was doing for this class I'm taking called Developing Your Artistry, which is all about, how do you make it as a musician and how do you have that balance and back and forth. We did a whole section on music being cathartic and being able to express yourselves. And the one thing that I noticed is that people cling to different types of music. For me, I tend to go for sadder singer-songwriter alternative rock music, while other people listen to Katy Perry and super pop music because it makes them forget about their problems, while some people love heavy metal because they can just, let all of their anger go, so people gravitate towards different types of music because of how it makes them feel when they are sad and how they deal with that sadness. So it's very interesting to hear you say, especially, trying to bring the positive out in it, as well and acknowledge that it's there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're quite big fans of Radiohead, and it certainly used to be the thing, when they first came out, that they were a depressing band. But I've always found the music very exciting. It's exciting music, and I don't think it's, as you say, it's as simple as it sometimes appears to be.
Yeah.
Why people like certain musics and certain mood,
Totally agree. So can you just walk us through your songwriting process, especially with something, as we were saying, as bold as this, obviously it has a lot of different layers to it, but just kind of walk us through, how we get the song from start to finish to, to this beautiful end product, with all of this, amazing orchestral stuff that you guys do as well.
Well, I'll take this on. Actually, all these songs that you hear, or most of them on the record, started as just the three of us, in a bedroom or in a living room, just sort of around the piano with the acoustic guitar out, and just sort of messing around, trying to get some chord sequences and some melodies down. And we basically did a load of sort of demos, just kind of, some of them even just recorded onto a phone. And unlike a lot of the other stuff we've done, we decided that we wanted to make a record in a proper studio with a sort of an experienced producer. So we sort of arrived on day one of we'd arranged a couple of weeks of recording with this guy Richard Formby, who's a sort of independent but highly respected producer in England. And we turned up with a kind of load of a ragbag selection of demos, basically. And we kind of started from building from the ground up in the studio. So we sort of, we put down the bare bones, which would be like a piano line or a guitar part. And then kind of he almost took over, and we started sort of sculpting sounds and textures around that. So quite often what we'd gone in with a song fairly well formed, and I think in our minds, he kind of started deconstructing it and pulling it apart and then rebuilding, using a lot of different types of things that we didn't have access to, like old synthesizers, old studio effects, echoes, and spring reverbs and things like that. So what we sort of came in with, like a kind of, a fairly humble but what we thought well put together song, he kind of gently and subtly, kind of with a scalpel, took to pieces and then rebuilt up with our with our input, obviously, layering up different things, trying out different effects and things like that. And so this really, out of all the stuff we've done, this album is a kind of product of the studio environment, whereas previously we've been kind of much more. We've done quite a lot of live recording, recorded quite a lot of parts live and then just added other stuff. This is really this album, this whole concept kind of came about in the studio. So it's a very different approach for us. But that's how we've sort of, and all the string arrangements and stuff that we've had, we've had on our music pretty much since day one. But kind of the way they're situated in the overall sound here is a bit different, because working with this guy, we were able to use more kind of effects and more better balanced sound in this. I think it kind of, I don't know if you want to.
When it comes to lyrics, did you guys? No, go ahead.
No, please.
I was just asking. When it comes to the lyrics, did you guys write the lyrics in the studio as well, or did you have ideas already prior to that?
Good question. No, 90% of the lyrics were written, but some of them we finished off in the studio. Sometimes you sing a line, you sing a melody, sing some lyrics in the studio, and you realise they don't work in that new context. So some you change. There were a few unfinished bits, but I think lyrics were mainly finished. Yeah.
So you came up with the lyrics before you had actually made the music itself?
No, we'd written the songs. It's more the arrangements that were changed in the studio. The songs were fairly set.
Yeah.
Some changed a bit, but we had the chords, melody, most of the lyrics. It's more the arrangements that were built in the studio, or at least massively altered in the studio.
Yeah, for sure. And taking all these different layers and being able to kind of watch them evolve over a period of time, because you have to have your backbone, to start it off. But then after that, the world is your oyster, and and the fact that you can really experiment and really play around and try different things and see what sticks and what doesn't stick,
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of recording.
Yeah, it's a very interesting process.
Exactly. Yeah, we really enjoyed that. I mean, some songs were realized in the studio in the way we were expecting them to be, but other songs, and Terra Firma, the song you just heard, is an example of where it just completely changed. Particularly the arrangement. We kind of let go of what we had quite a lot, and it went in a totally different direction.
For sure.
Originally, it was originally kind of a pastiche of the Beach Boys, and I don't know, it seemed like a good idea at the time, and then the more we listened back to it, we just thought it didn't fit on the album, and so I kind of struggled quite hard with that song to make it work, and then there was just one beautiful moment where we just took almost all the instruments out, and the essence of the song was there, and suddenly it just happened.
Yeah, I totally understand. So let's go ahead and take a listen to another song. The next one I have queued up is called Long Lane. So give us a little bit of background on this song.
So this song is actually inspired by Elliott Smith, who I think has quite a connection with LA. He lived there for a while.
Yeah.
He's a songwriter that we admire a lot, and it's actually kind of about. I remember where I was when I heard that he died, and I just moved to London, and the people I was with, I didn't know that well, and it was just sort of the feeling of hearing that news and that sort of thing. And Long Lane is a street in central London, which is around about where I was when I heard that Elliott Smith had died. So it's kind of inspired by him. Yeah.
Wonderful. All right. Well, let's take a listen to Long Lane by Left with Pictures.
When I first saw your name in my magazine, I was no gentleman, if you know what I mean. I am sorry, pardon me. I shouted up a gale, I used all kinds of names. I tiptoed down the landing, betting in my hand, but I can't compete with you. Oh, the violence of all you went through.
I know that it's wrong. You can't have more than one. Let's go through the night. Today becomes tomorrow. I don't want any more. You know it's just gone for. Put on either or. We won't be that good ever.
Where was it that I stood when I heard your record end? Was it Lindsay, was it Hayden? Charterhouse on Long Lane, someone's tugging at my sleeve. Won't you show me how it's done before you leave?
I know that it's wrong. You can't have more than one. Let's go through the night. Today becomes tomorrow. I don't want any more. You know it's just gone for. Put on either or. We won't be that good ever. Oh, oh, oh.
That was Long Lane by Left with Pictures. We are back with them on air. So we've talked a little bit about the writing process, talked a little bit, how these songs came to be. But now we want to shift to kind of a different aspect, which would be your live shows. So tell us just a little, I guess starting off, what do you guys prefer? Do you prefer being in the studio and writing all these songs and having, this really creative process? Or do you enjoy being out on the road and playing these songs for people? Is there one that you prefer over the other?
That's a good question. I think probably, playing live is, it might be different for the three of us, but personally, I really love performing and playing the songs live. There's nothing that beats that. But the studio is, it's not that we don't enjoy the studio. It's just very different. They're such different experiences. You can't really compare them. Giving a performance and doing something which is crafting something over time. Being in the studio can be boring sometimes because if you're tracking and just laying down parts, that's not all that. It's not exciting all the time. The studio.
And you can, if you're going to consider that being your job, that would be the more work aspect of it, where you're actually having to go over things, and it's a little bit more tedious than just going out and having fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Obviously, playing live is more exuberant experience. You're performing, there's that sort of adrenaline and so on. So, yeah, I think if there's a gun to my head and I had to choose one, I'd probably say playing live. Yeah.
Yeah. Would the rest of you guys agree with him?
Sorry, just for the record, there isn't a gun to his head. But anyway.
Would the rest of you agree with him though that kind of performing is the better end of it?
See, I just personally prefer if a gun was to my head, which is because there aren't any guns in London. But there's something about the studio which is kind of I liken it to sort of it's a kind of sculpture. So you start with a big block of marble or stone or whatever, and you sort of and it becomes smaller. You sort of chisel it away, and it becomes more and more. Eventually, things come into focus, and you start to get you start to get towards your end product, and you take some different turns down the road, but you're constantly in this sort of you've got this great freedom to be able to just try things and then bin them. Whereas if you're obviously, which you can't do when you're playing live, because once you've started the song, basically you're kind of duty bound to finish it. Not that we've always managed to finish every song that we started playing, but so for me, there's something about just the freedom and the kind of experimentation that the studio offers, which personally I find more fulfilling, certainly now than playing live. But there's not much in it.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you guys have a specific show that stands out other than just all the ones you've done?
That's a very we're on the spot.
It's like picking your favorite child. Which of these spectacular events that you have done is your favorite out of all of them?
Or maybe just a favorite venue.
Well, I don't know. Again, I don't know if this speaks for us all, but one thing that comes to mind for Left with Pictures is that quite often for the closing number of the set, we kind of unplug and might go out into the audience and sing in the audience, get the audience to sing along, get the audience to play some percussion, something like that. And that can work really well in small venues.
Yeah.
And because we've been playing a long time, we've played. It seems like most of the venues on kind of particular circuits in London, and quite often I find it's those really small intimate venues that I've really enjoyed. Really felt that we've connected with the audience in those.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have any plans in the near to distant future to come back over to the States and do a tour over here?
We would absolutely love to come to the States and do a tour. So if anyone listening to this broadcast wants to book us for a tour or a show, find us online and contact us. No, we've never played in the States, and we would love to. We've actually never played outside the UK. Mm-hmm. We almost had a tour in France. We weren't able to do that in the end, but we'd absolutely love to play outside the UK and especially the States.
Yeah.
So. Booking agents, if you're listening, we're available.
Well, I will tell you that if you ever do come to LA, you have two people who will be there for sure. And as I'm planning my trip to the UK for next June, if you have any shows, I will plan it into my schedule.
Okay, great. Keep in touch. Yeah, well, I mean, 2 people at the start. So, that's 2 guaranteed ticket sales for our LA show. Maybe not the Greek theater.
Yeah. Maybe something slightly smaller. But, there's a lot of great venues out here. And, the thing that's really cool is, the whole kind of club scene here is, my favorite venue is, the Troubadour. And it's about, I would say maybe sold out is probably about a little over 500 people. And, there's been little bands who've played there and sold it out. There's huge bands like, I think Guns N' Roses did a show there a couple months ago.
Oh, yeah.
They did.
We'd love to play with Guns N' Roses.
Yeah. Okay, well,
Thanks for listening. We're up for it.
We'll set it up. But, there's a lot of smaller venues out here that are very iconic and very cool places as well. So keep that in mind if you ever do want to come to the States.
Yeah, for sure.
Wonderful. Well, we have just a few more minutes, and I want to finish off with the last song that we have queued up here. But before we go, is there anything else that you guys want to tell the world that is listening, as well as social media where they can find you, stalk you, love you, and all of that good stuff?
To tell the world, just thanks to anyone who's listened and enjoyed our music. Online we're the usual predictable things. We have a website, leopardpictures.com, and a Twitter and a Facebook, and you can buy our music. I suppose if you love the music, consider buying a record, buying a physical copy. It's nice to have that in your collection. That's what we want to say to the world.
And if you're lucky, you might get it in your VNYL package, which I was blessed to get, and if it wasn't for that, I probably never would have been able to find you guys. Really thankful to them as well for spreading the music of not just popular artists, but ones that are up and coming and that are trying to make their mark as well.
That's great. That's we were excited to be involved with NYL for that reason. So that's great. That's great.
Wonderful. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. This has been great. We're going to leave you here with this last song called The Start, which we talked about a little bit earlier. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your night, since, it's a little bit later over where you're at.
Thank you.
And appreciate you taking the time to come and talk to us. And again, let us know if you're ever in the area, and we'd love to have you come in studio.
Yeah, thanks very much. Thanks, Lauren. Thanks, Sean. Thank you.
Yeah, have a good one.
You guys have a great night.
You too. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. All right, so let's finish this off with their song called The Start. My name is Lauren Dair.
I'm Sean Lusk.
And this has been The Music Project. Here is The Start by Left with Pictures.
Bye-bye.
Turn your gaze back to our glory days. I'm not there. On the right, I am the light that burns in the frenetic
Now that you've found UBN Radio and discovered our quality talk shows, it's time to spread the word to friends, family, and the universe. 24 hours of music and talk. Radio without limits. That's why people keep coming back for more. That's UBNradio.com.